Well, hello once again. This is me, Leonard Wells, broadcasting as usual from Haslingden, some 30 miles or 50 kilometres due north of Manchester in the UK, on Monday the 7th of November 2011. I've titled this little broadcast, The Ides of March, a film with George Clooney. Now, a week or so ago, or more, maybe 10 days or so, I heard George Clooney being interviewed about this film. And I thought, well, it's most unlikely that I'll ever get to see the film, because he's quite an impressive actor, apart from being good looking, which I don't feel I am, although my girlfriend insists that I am. And I thought, well, there's no chance I'll ever see that film. So anyway, on Wednesday last week, I went down to stay for 2 nights with my friends in Arundel in Sussex, not too far from Brighton, between Brighton and Chichester. I took the train from Manchester to London, did some business in Kensington, and then took the underground across to Victoria and took a wonderful train ride, a very, very attractive train ride, all the way down to Arundel on southern trains. Quite impressive. Certainly they put the trains up here in the north to absolute shame by comparison, because they're electric, they're clean, they're warm, and they're full of information inside. Electric signs telling you where you are and electronic voices telling you what the next stop is. Although, because the system is that the train from Victoria to Arundel, in fact, splits in half. It starts off as an 8-coach train, 8 coaches, and then splits at Horsham. And as you're travelling, it says you must travel in the first 4 carriages for this destination, and in the last 4 carriages for the other destination. And as Arundel was in that category, I sat in the last carriage, to be sure. On the way back, it was a 4-coach train, but it kept on saying over the announcements that this is coach 1 of 8, which was clearly wrong. Anyway, what I'm coming to is this. When I arrived at my friend's house, very nice modern house, in a very attractive town, little town, Arundel, with a wonderful castle and a cathedral, Catholic cathedral, quaint bijou little shops, nice little streets, ruined to my mind, like many cities and towns, by the motor car. At least the look of it is. Surprise, surprise, my friends suggested that we go to the cinema that night. Well, in fact, he'd already suggested it on the train by calling me on my mobile, so he'd arranged the tickets already, and we were going to see the Ides of March in one of those multiplex cinemas in Chichester. So at the appointed hour, I think the performance started at 6:30. We set off in the dark and the damp and the drizzle, and we got to the cinema, and of course, as with many cinemas today, the entire foyer is taken up by ways of parting you from your money, selling you this and that or the other. And I was absolutely astonished, stunned to find that they were selling a tub of popcorn and 2 Coca-Colas for £9.50. £9.50. It beggared belief. It absolutely beggared belief that they could even think of asking such a price. What absolute rip-off cheek. I couldn't get over it. It was absolutely riveting. I was stunned. And then, as if to sort of wake me up, having stunned me, we got into the cinema and we were right to the back at the looking down. And surprisingly, my vertigo didn't come to the surface, and I didn't feel I wanted to jump, which is what you do when you've got vertigo. As soon as the performance started, we get about 5 or 6 or 7 minutes of adverts. And the sound was turned up to ear-splitting level. My very stomach was vibrating. There was so much noise. It was as if these guys were saying, so you think you're going to not listen to our adverts? Well, even if you wanted to talk to your neighbour, the sound level won't let you. And it's exactly the same argument they use that they do on the TV. They say and swear that they don't put the noise level higher for adverts than they do for normal programmes. Well, it's codswallop. Now, I had the same thing in Manchester about 2 years ago, and I complained. And they offered to show me round behind the scenes, and they swore that there was no problem with the sound. Well, I'm going to bring a complaint up to the management because it's ridiculous, the level of sound of those adverts. Absolutely ridiculous. And the level of sound in the film was half what it was when those adverts came on. And they were all silly adverts, you know, silly adverts. So I liked the film. Wasn't as good, I thought, as All the President's Men, because it had a similar background, which was the presidency of the United States of America, which is something that interests me because I'm a great believer in the United States of Europe. And very shortly, my website, www.useurope.eu, will be on display, will be working. Nothing fancy, just a link to all my videos and details of the countries which are in the EU, the Euro, Schengen, NATO, etc. And I will also start to collect links to other places where you can read about the United States of Europe, because you won't get it from Cameron and his merry men, the Eurosceptics. They want to still play Little Englanders. They want to join the golf club, but play with a different size ball to everybody else. Well, they're all dancing a jig on one leg at the moment about not being in the Euro. Well, I believe that we will be in the Euro, because the time will come, and it won't be too far off, when there'll be such a cataclysmic collapse in the value of the pound that they'll have no choice. And then they'll go begging, the way they begged originally to join the EU, and Charles de Gaulle said no. Because when France and Germany started the Iron and Steel Federation, which was the beginning of the EU, our representative, I think he was a civil servant, walked out falling about laughing because he said it would never work. 10 years later we're begging to join. Well, if the Little Englanders, the Eurosceptics, want to keep us little, there is no easier way than doing it. Because the problems in Europe at the moment are caused by the fact that everybody has a different hymn sheet. We're all singing from a different hymn sheet. And the financial problems of the Eurozone arise because we don't have a United States of Europe with a finance ministry and a finance minister, so that the burden is spread throughout the nation, as it is in America. When the United States of America was formed, after just the kind of turmoil we've been through in the last 50 or more years, when the United States was formed, the founding fathers did not want a single currency. Well, you imagine what it would be like if America had 50 different currencies, one for each state. And if it hadn't been for the dogged determination of one man, I forget his name, of one man, they would have had different currencies and there wouldn't have been a United States dollar. Well, I don't know about you, but I consider the reason America has been great is because it has that huge market, all using the same currency and largely speaking the same language. Well, we're slowly getting there in that direction, in the sense that we've got 17 countries so far in the euro, and we've got more wanting to join. Latvia wants to join, and already when I go to Romania, they think in euros. If you want to buy a house or a car, they're usually advertised in euros already, even though Romania doesn't use it yet. So if you're European, you think as a European. But if you sit on an island 22 miles offshore, you tend to be, especially an island that's ruled the world at one time, you get a bit big, too big for your boots. And they start talking about punching above our weight and all that rubbish. Well, we're a long way from the Ides of March. And I hope you'll forgive me for having rabbited on a bit about the United States of Europe. I really believe in it. We will one day vote for a president of the United States of Europe. And we will have a White House, or the equivalent of a White House, in some capital city in Europe. It could be that we will have it in London for a period of time, say 10 years, and then move it to Brussels and then so on. And maybe it will go like that. And then we will not feel that we're all controlled by one place, like they do now when they say, we don't want Brussels telling us what to do. Well, the people in Scotland don't want people in London telling them what to do. And some people already in this country don't want people in Westminster telling us what to do. And some people don't want the local council telling us what to do. And so it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. That's human nature. Well, I've waffled enough. I'm going to close now. I will say God bless, while it's still legal in the UK to say God bless. Take care and bye for now.